So previous classes we have studied the introduction to the course entomology and also the evolution of insects.
Correct.
So today's class we are going to take up the history of entomology in India. So for convenience sake, we will distribute the history into four parts. So the first part is history of entomology during Vedic period or prehistoric period. So that is from 1500 to 500 BC. That is late Bronze Age and early Iron Age. So I will be studying this history as a first part. The second part will be studying history of entomology during post-Vedic period. And the third part will be studying the history of entomology during the advent of early Christian missionaries and the establishment of East India Company. That is between 1600 to 1900. And finally, we'll be studying the history of entomology in India after 1901. That is 19th century to 20th century. So for convenience purpose, I have divided the history of entomology into four parts. That is Vedic period, post-Vedic period, during the advent of Christian missionaries and East India Company, that is 1600 to 1900, and finally the history during 19th century and 20th century. So first we'll take up the history of entomology during Vedic period or prehistoric period. So here the earliest knowledge about insects dates back to 6000 years ago. So earliest knowledge about insects dates back to 6000 years ago. So especially our ancestors, they were well versed with the art of rearing silkworms and weaving silk cloths. So our ancestors, they knew the art of rearing silkworms and also weaving silk cloth out of the silk. So there is a document that during 3870 BC, an Indian king, he sent silken materials as a gift to Persian king. So there is a proof in 3870 BC, an Indian king, he sent silken materials as a gift to Persian king. And also, there are mentions about insects in our mythological epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata regarding silk, honey, and lac. So, in our mythological epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata, they have mentioned about silk, honey, and lac. And coming to the mention of insects in Mahabharata, coming to the mention of insects in Mahabharata, so there is a reference about the construction of Lakshagriha, a house of lac. So if you take Mahabharata, so Kauravas, they employed an architect called Purochana. So with this help of architect, they built Lakshagriha in the forest of Varnavrat. So presently, this is situated on a bank of river Ganga near Meerut in Uttar Pradesh. Actually, this Lakshagriha was built as a trap house to burn Pandavas alive. But however, Pandavas, they managed to escape from the house through a secret tunnel. So if you look here, this is the lac insect. This is the lac insect. So lac is nothing but a product from an insect called a lac insect, Laxifera lacca, belonging to family Laxiferidae. order Homoptera. So the product of this was used for construction of Lakshagriha, where Kauravas they wanted to kill the Pandavas alive. So with the help of architect called Purochana, they built this Lakshagriha. But somehow when the Kauravas set fire to this Lakshagriha, through this secret tunnel, they try to escape from this. So in this way, the mention about lack is made in Mahabharata. And also, some of the terms related to insects, they were mentioned in ancient Sanskrit writings like Amarakosha, Arthashastra, and Chanukya Sutra. So, in these earlier three Sanskrit writings, they have mentioned something about insects. For example, in these Sanskrit writings, they had mentioned the ant as Pipilika, and also they had mentioned grasshoppers as Patanga. And the term for honeybees they were using were Madhu Makshika. Similarly, for termite queen, they were using the term called Umba Kapalika. So these are the ancient terms or Sanskrit terms mentioned in this Amarakosha or Arthashastra or Chanukya Sutra. So ant was called by them as Pipilika, grasshopper was called as Patanga, honeybee was called as Madhumukshika, termite queen was called as Umba Kapalika. Similarly, there were some references for insects like flies, beetles, bees, hornets, moths, ants, and glowworms. So there were references with these insects in the well-known dictionary of Sanskrit, that is Amarakosha. So Amarakosha is the dictionary of Sanskrit. So in this Sanskrit dictionary, there were mentions of insects like flies, beetles, bees, hornets, moths, ants, and glowworms. So this is about the mentioning of insects in mythological epics and some of the Sanskrit writings. And also, there are also evidences in the past to show that our ancient people were aware of useful of the insects which provided honey, lac, and silk. So our ancestors they were familiar with the bees, that is Madhumakshika, and also they were gathering honey and wax from their hives. So if you look the paintings of the insects, for example, if you look here, this is the rock painting showing a scene of honey harvest during 4000 to 5000 BC in Spain. So in one of the rock, they had painted like how they were harvesting the honey in 4000 to 5000 BC in Spain. And also, they were using beeswax for preparation of statues. So this is the beeswax statue of Ramses 11 and Math. So in this way, they were using honey as well as the beeswax for various purposes. Similarly, they were also aware of the lac insect, and this is how they were processing lac during those days. And also, I was mentioning about silk production. So they also knew the art of rearing silkworms and extracting the silk out of them. So in this way, the people had the knowledge of honey, lac, and silk. So this is about the history during Vedic period. So next, coming to the history of entomology during post-Vedic period. Post-Vedic period. So here, classification of bees was given by Indian physician called Charaka during 1200 to 1000 BC. So a classification of bees was given by the Indian physician Charaka in 1200 to 1000 BC. Similarly, Aristotle 384 to 322 BC. So he was considered as father of zoology. So he established the basis for scientific study of insects. So he made investigations about flies, honeybees, and ants. So Aristotle, who was considered as father of zoology, so he made investigations on flies, honeybees, and ants. So Sushruta during 100 to 200 AD, so he was a surgeon. So he classified ants, flies, and mosquitoes. So Sushruta during 100 to 200 AD, so he gave the classification of ants, flies, and mosquitoes. Similarly, the detailed classification of insects was given by Umaswati during 0 to 100 AD. So the first detailed classification of insects was done by Umaswati during 0 to 100 AD. So during post-Vedic period, Charaka, Aristotle, Sushruta, and Umaswati, they gave a classification of insects on various aspects. And this is about post-Vedic period. Next, coming to the entomology in modern India. So next, coming to the entomology in modern India. So this entomology history is after 16th century. So this is after 16th century. So here, from the advent of early Christian missionaries and establishment of East India Company, that is from 1600 to 1900. So we'll be studying first part from 1600 to 1900. And during this period, most of the entomological work was done by the people who were present in the armies, the people in Indian Forest Service, the people in Indian medical services, and Indian civil services. So most of the work on insects during 1600 to 1900 was not made by specialists, but they were made by the people working in army, people working in IFS cadre, people in medical services, and people in civil services. So these people contributed to entomology during 1600 to 1900. And the second part, we'll be studying the history of entomology in modern period, that is during 1901 to 2020. That is 19th century and 20th century. So first, we'll take up the history of entomology during 1600 to 1900, where Christian missionaries and East India Company, they were ruling India. So preliminary documentation of Indian insects was made by J.C. Fabricius, who lived from 1745 to 1808. So the preliminary documentation of insects was made by J.C. Fabricius. So J.C. Fabricius was born in Denmark. So he was born in Denmark, and he is the one of the most distinguished entomologists of earlier times. So he was the most distinguished entomologist of earlier times. So he was a Danish zoologist, and he was also a student of Carl von Linnaeus. So his contribution is he concentrated in the field of descriptive systematics, especially on taxonomy of insects. So he made a extensive study of Indian insects for the first time, and he classified the insects into 8 orders based on the type of mouth parts. So J.C. Fabricius, he worked on taxonomy and he classified the insects into 8 orders based on the type of mouth parts. So these were the terminologies given by him in his period. On the top, these were the name of 8 orders given during those period. So currently, for example, Eleutheria is currently called as Coleoptera. Similarly, the other groups were Hemipterans, Hymenoptera, Diptera, Lepidoptera, Orthoptera, Neuroptera, and Odonata. So these are the 8 insect orders classified by him based on the type of mouth parts. So this was the earlier documentation of Indian insects by J.C. Fabricius during 1745 to 1808. The second contribution was made by Carl von Linnaeus during 1758. So especially the modern Indian entomology began with the publishing of the 10th edition of Systema Naturae by Carl von Linnaeus. So during 1758, Carl Linnaeus, he published the 10th edition of Systema Naturae. So all of you know about this Carl Linnaeus. So he named the organisms by binomial nomenclature. So where the organism is named by genera and species. So he classified the insects on the basis of presence or absence of wings. So he classified the insects based on the presence or absence of wings, and also the number of wings that are present in the adult insects. So this schematic diagram gives the classification of insects according to Linnaeus. So he classified the insects into Apterae, which are wingless insects, Diptera, which are two-winged insects, and four-winged insects. So these four-winged insects are further classified as superiors and omnis. So superiors were further classified into Coleoptera and Hemiptera. So Coleoptera were the insects that had a fully hardened body and fully hardened wings. Whereas Hemiptera, they were partially hardened wings. So omnis were further classified into Lepidoptera and Membranaceae. So Lepidoptera, they had overlapping scales on the wings. Whereas insects with membranous wings, they belong to Hymenoptera and Neuroptera. So this was the classification given by Carl von Linnaeus in his 10th edition of Systema Naturae based on the presence or absence of the wings and number of wings present. So the next contribution was made by J.G. Koenig. J.G. Koenig. So he was the official naturalist to Nawab of Arcot. So he was the official naturalist to Nawab of Arcot. So his period was 1767 to 1779. So he was a medical officer from Denmark. He was a medical officer from Denmark, and he was also a student of Carl Linnaeus. So for the first time during 18th century, so he collected insects, especially from Coromandel area, which is presently situated in Tamil Nadu and southern peninsular India. And after collecting the insects, so he supplied insects to taxonomists like Linnaeus, Fabricius, Kramer, and Drury. So he was the person who used to collect insects for the first time during 18th century from Coromandel area and southern peninsular area. And he has published one book called Termites of Tanjavur District. So J.G. Koenig, he published this work as Termites of Tanjavur District. And the earlier scientist Fabricius, so he wanted Koenig's name to be remembered for ever. So Fabricius, he wanted Koenig's name to be remembered for forever. So he named one insect after Koenigi. So he named red cotton bug of this country as Dysdarchus koinigi. So to remember Koinigi, he named red cotton bug as Dysdarchus koinigi. So this is the red cotton bug, which is a severe pest, severe sucking pest in cotton. So these are the contribution of J.G. Koenig. So where he first collected many insects and gave to taxonomists like Linnaeus, Fabricius, Kramer, Drury. So his contribution was publication of a book called Termites of Tanjavur District. And also an insect is named after Koinigi as Dysdarchus koinigi, which is a red cotton bug. So the next contribution was by Dr. Kerr in 1782. So he published an account of lac insects. So he was a person who published information on lac insects. So later on in 1785, a society called Asiatic Society of Bengal was started in Calcutta. So in 1785, they started a society called Asiatic Society of Bengal in Calcutta to study the insects. And in 1791, so Dr. J. Anderson, he wrote a monograph on cochineal scale insects. So all of you might have seen this cactus plant. So the cactus plant, you may find some white matter. So this white matter is nothing but the cochineal scale insects. So Dr. J. Anderson, he wrote a monograph on cochineal scale insects. So the next one was in 1792. In 1792, this myna bird. So whatever the picture you are seeing, this is a myna bird. The scientific name is Acridopteris tristis. Acridopteris tristis. So this was exported to Mauritius Island from India. So a myna bird was exported to Mauritius Island from India. This was mainly done to control the red locust. So locusts are severe pest. So this is the first introduction of natural enemy from one country to another country. That is from India to Mauritius. This myna bird was exported for the biological control of the red locust. So you can see the myna bird eating the grasshopper, which is called as red locust. The second was during 1800. So during 1800, a person by name Buchanan. So Buchanan was a person who was a traveler studying natural wealth of India. So Buchanan was a person who was a traveler studying natural wealth of India. So he wrote on cultivation of lac in India and also cultivation of sericulture in some parts of southern India. So Buchanan, he was studying natural wealth of India. So during his traveling, he wrote cultivation of lac insect in India and also sericulture in some parts of southern India. So during the same period, that is 1800, Edward Donovan, he published an illustrated book. As you see here, this is the illustrated book called as an epitome of natural history of insects of India and the islands in the Indian seas. So this book was the first pictorial documentation of insects. That means this book was in the form of pictures. That is a pictorial documentation. And this was revised in 1842 by Westwood. So whatever the Edward Donovan, whatever the book he wrote, so this was revised during 1842 by Westwood. Next, during 1825, P.A. Latriel, he coined the term hexapoda. Usually insects belong to subphylum Hexapoda. Hexa means six, poda means legs. That means insects have six legs. So this was the term coined by P.A. Latriel in 1825. Next, during 1840, Reverend Hope, he published a paper on entomology of Himalayas and India. So in 1840, Reverend Hope, he published a paper on entomology of Himalayas and India. And next in 1875, the foundation was laid for Indian Museum at Calcutta. So this is the present building of Indian Museum, which is situated at Calcutta. So the foundation was laid during 1875. Similarly, in 1883, this Bombay Natural History Society was started. So Bombay Natural History Society was started. This is also the building that is situated in Calcutta. So these two buildings were that is after the foundation of these two organizations. So after the foundation of these two organizations, that is Indian Museum and Bombay Natural History Society, the scientific studies received greater attention. So scientific studies on insects received greater attention in India. And numerous contributions of Indian insects, they were published in the journal called as Journal of Bombay Natural History Society. So after the foundation of Museum and Bombay Natural History, the scientific study started on insects, and the works were published in the Journal of Bombay Natural History Society. So this is the first volume of Bombay Natural History of Society, which was started in 1886. So later on in 1888, so they came up with a series of books called as Fauna of British India. So later on in 1888, that is from this natural Bombay Natural History Society, they came up with a series of books called as Fauna of British India. So this came up under the editorship of W.T. Blandford, and now these books, they are published as Fauna of India. So in 1888, a series of books called Fauna of British India came under the editorship of W.T. Blandford, and now the same books are published as Fauna of India. And in 1892, the entomological part of Fauna of British India, now called as Fauna India series started. So in 1892, the Fauna of British India series started as entomologist by name George Hampson. Entomologist by name George Hampson. So he contributed first 4 volumes of moths in India. So you can see here the fauna of British India series, especially of Ceylon and Burma. So this is volume 1, this is volume 2, this is volume 3, this is volume 4. So four volumes on moths of India were contributed by George Hampson in 1892. And later on in 1893, Dr. Dr. Rothney, so he published a book on Indian ants. So Dr. Rothney, you can as you see in the diagram, these are the different types of ants. So he published a book on Indian ants. And this was the earliest record of biological pest control in India. So earliest record of biological pest control in India. So here the white ants that attacked stationary items, they were kept under control by red ants. So as you see in the diagram, these are the white ants which are called as termites. So these were a major pest on stationary items. So these ants, they were used to control this white biological control agent. So the next contribution is by Sir Ronald Ross during 1897. So the next contribution is by Sir Ronald Ross in 1897. So he was a medical officer. He was an Indian medical scientist or Indian medical officer. So he was in charge of Madras Regiment at that time. So during 1897, he was a medical officer in charge of Madras Regiment. So his office was located at Begumpet in Secunderabad. So Sir Ronald Ross discovered a malarial parasite in a dissected Anopheles mosquito. So he discovered the malarial parasite in a dissected Anopheles mosquito. So for this purpose, Ross was awarded Nobel Prize for Medicine in 1902. So for Ronald Ross' contribution, he was awarded Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1902. So do you know that August 20 is celebrated as a World Mosquito Day? So if you might have not known, at least now you should know that August 20 of every year is celebrated as a World Mosquito Day. So this is the contribution of Sir Ronald Ross in 1897. Next, from 1889 to 1903, the Indian Museum of Calcutta published notes called as Indian Museum Notes. So from 1889 to 1903, the Indian Museum of Calcutta. So this institute published Indian Museum Notes in 5 volumes. As you see in the diagram, this is the Indian Museum Notes. So the publication of Indian Museum Notes contributed very much for the development of economic entomology and applied entomology in India. So publication of Indian Museum Notes in 5 volumes. So this contributed for economic entomology and applied entomology in India. So this is about the history of entomology during the advent of missionaries and East India Company, 1600 to 1900. So now we'll pass on to the history of entomology in India from 1901 onwards. That is 19th century to 20th century. So this 19th century marks the major progress and expansions in the field of applied entomology. So this was the starting for the field of applied entomology. So in 1901, Lionel D. Lionel D. Niceville, he was he was posted as the first entomologist to the government of India. So remember, in 1901, Lionel D. Niceville, he was posted as the first entomologist to government of India. So his contributions were the butterflies of India, Burma, and Ceylon. So he contributed books like The Butterflies of India, Burma, and Ceylon. So he also has one more publication called The Butterflies of India. So he was the first entomologist to government of India during 1901. Next, in 1903, Professor Maxwell Lefroy, so he contributed to entomology. So he was an English entomologist. He was an English entomologist, and he was a professor in the Imperial College, London. So he was an English entomologist, and he was a professor of Imperial College at London. So in 1903, he succeeded Lionel D. Niceville as a government entomologist. So after the Lionel D. Niceville period was over, so he succeeded him as a entomologist to government of India. So Professor Maxwell Lefroy in 1905, so he established an institute called Agricultural Research Institute in Pusa at Bihar. So Professor Maxwell Lefroy in the year 1905, so he established Agricultural Research Institute at Lord Curzon, Pusa, Bihar. So Professor Maxwell Lefroy, he became the first imperial entomologist. So after the establishment of this institute, so he was the first imperial entomologist of Agricultural Research Institute, which was situated at Pusa in Bihar during 1905. So in the year 1906, so he published a book called as Indian Insect Pests. So Professor Maxwell Lefroy, he published a book called as Indian Insect Pests during 1906. Later on in 1909, he published one more book called as Indian Insect Life. So remember, in 1903, Maxwell Lefroy, he succeeded Niceville as a government entomologist. In 1905, he established Agricultural Research Institute, and he was the first imperial entomologist at this institute. So at 1905, this institute was situated in Pusa, Bihar. So he published two books, Indian Insect Pest in 1906, Indian Insect Life in 1909. So subsequently, the different state governments, they appointed their own entomologists for their states. So the states like state of Mysore at that time, the state of Madras, state of Punjab, and Uttar Pradesh. So they selected the entomologist in the year 1908 by state of Mysore, 1912 by the state of Madras, 1919 by the state of Punjab, and Uttar Pradesh in 1922. So these four states, they appointed entomologists in their states to work on insects. So in 1911, in 1911, this Agricultural Research Institute established by Maxwell Lefroy was renamed as Imperial Agricultural Research Institute. So in 1905, which was started as ARI, Agricultural Research Institute, so it was renamed as Imperial Agricultural Research Institute. So if you see here, so this was the building at that time. and this was the entrance for this Imperial Agriculture Research Institute. So this building was before 1934. This building was before 1934. So in 1934, there was one earthquake at Bihar. So this building was completely damaged due to the earthquake. That means this Imperial Agricultural Research Institute, it existed only before 1934. So during 1934, the building got damaged due to the earthquake. And in the year 1912, in 1912, the Plant Quarantine Act was enforced. So during 1912, the Plant Quarantine Act was enforced, which imposed restriction of movement of plants and other animals from one country to another country. So next contribution was made by T.B. Fletcher in the year 1913. So I think slides are moving a little bit slowly. Okay. So in 1913, the contributions are made by T.B. Fletcher. So he succeeded Maxwell Lefroy as imperial entomologist. So after Professor Maxwell Lefroy, T.B. Fletcher, he succeeded as an imperial entomologist. So he convened a series of entomological meetings. He conducted a series of entomological meetings on all India basis. For the purpose was to bring all the entomologists together in the country. So during the year 1915, he conducted five such meetings at IRI USA, that is at Bihar. So the proceedings of first meeting, it was not published, whereas the proceedings of four meetings, they were published, which became a treasure of entomological knowledge. So T.B. Fletcher, he traveled throughout the country, and he made insect collections and published same as catalog of Indian insects. If you see here, this is the book of catalog of Indian insects. So this consisted of the work that was the insects that were collected by him. So this marked as an era in the history of Indian insect taxonomy. So the collections of T.B. Fletcher and publishing in the catalog of Indian insects. So this was the era for history of Indian systematics or taxonomy. So the catalog of Indian insects, there are more than 30 catalogs on different insects. So there are more than 30 catalogs published on different insects during the time of T.B. Fletcher. So these were the contributions of T.B. Fletcher for entomology in 19th century. So in 1914, T.B. Fletcher, he published a book called Some South Indian Insects. So if you go to room number 9 in our library, so you can have a look of these books. So we have these books in our library. So in 1914, the Destructive Insect and Pest Act was enforced. So in the year 1914, the Destructive Insects and Pest Act, it was enforced. So this act was mainly for the regulation of movement of plant material and other material from one country to another country. So later on in 1914, the Zoological Survey of India was established at Kolkata. So it is called as ZSI. ZSI means Zoological Survey of India, which is situated in Kolkata. And in the year 1914, so one more book was published by the name Indian Forest Insects of Economic Importance, especially with reference to Coleoptera. So in 1914, Indian forest insects of economic importance with reference to Coleoptera was published by first Imperial Forest Entomologist E.P. Stebbing. So this is the book published by E.P. Stebbing on forest insect pests. And in the year 1916, so one more institute was established called Imperial Forest Research Institute. So this was established in Dehradun by E.P. Stebbing, who was a forest zoologist. I think you people have one all India tour. So during your all India tour, I think you will get a chance to visit this institute, which is located at Dehradun. So in 1916, this Imperial Forest Research Institute was established at Dehradun by E.P. Stebbing. So whatever the forest insect pests are present, they are collected and preserved in this institute. So in 1916, so in the year 1916, the natural history section of Indian Museum was formed at ZSI. So in 1916, the natural history section of Indian Museum was formed at ZSI, Calcutta. If you see in the diagrams, so these are the different sections of this natural history. So these are the collections of natural history sections. For example, you can see the tusks of elephants. So here you must see the skeleton of dinosaur which existed at that time. So here you might see the preservation of dead bodies. So here you can see the preservation of various collections. So remember, this Indian Museum is the only taxonomic organization in the country involving in the study of all kinds of animals, starting from protozoa, mammalia, and all possible habitats that were collected from deepest oceans to the peaks of Himalayas. So, Indian Museum is the only taxonomic organization in the country that involves in the study of all kinds of animals, starting from protozoa to mammalia that were collected from deepest oceans to peaks of Himalayas. And later on in year 1925, later on in the year 1925, so this Indian Lac Research Institute. So later on in 1925, this Indian Lac Research Institute was established at Namakkam near Ranchi in Bihar. So now because of formation of new states, so this place is situated in Jharkhand. So this place is situated in Jharkhand. That is ILRI, Indian Lac Research Institute, was established in 1925. Earlier it was in Bihar. Now it is in Jharkhand due to bifurcation of states. So presently they have renamed in 2007. Presently this institute has been renamed as Indian Institutes of Natural Resin and Gums. That is IINRG in September 2007. So here they conduct research on these lac insects and some of the natural resins and gums that are excreted by insect. So you can see the lady here who is involved in the cultivation of these lac insects. So next in year 1929, the Imperial Council of Agricultural Research, it was renamed as Indian Agricultural Research Institute. I think most of you might have heard of this institute, IARI, which is currently situated in New Delhi. So earlier, the name of this institute was Imperial Council of Agricultural Research, and now it is called by the name IARI, that is Indian Agricultural Research Institute. So in the year 1931, Patton and Craig, they published a book called a textbook of medical entomology. So a textbook of medical entomology was published by Patton and Craig. And in the year 1934, this is the person called Hem Singh Pruthi or H.S. Pruthi. So he succeeded T.B. Fletcher as imperial entomologist. So I was talking about T.B. Fletcher earlier. So Hem Singh Pruthi, he succeeded T.B. Fletcher as imperial entomologist. So he made efforts to bring all entomological workers still closer. So all entomological closers, he wanted to bring still closer, and this resulted in the foundation of a society called Entomological Society of India in 1938. So H.S. Pruthi, he was responsible in bringing the all entomologists together by the foundation of Entomological Society of India in 1938. So at that time, Afzal Hussain. So this person is Afzal Hussain. So he was the first president of Entomological Society of India in 1938. So Afzal Hussain was the first president of this society. And the vice presidents were Hem Singh Pruthi. So that is Hem Singh Pruthi. He was the vice president. And T.V. Ramakrishna Iyer. He was also vice president. So a single president, Afzal Hussain, two vice presidents, H.S. Pruthi and T.V. Ramakrishna Iyer were the members of this society. And this society started publishing a journal called as Indian Journal of Entomology in 1939. So you can see this was the Indian Journal of Entomology published during the year 1939, and today even we are continuing with this journal. So this is the recent edition of Indian Journal of Entomology, maybe in 2018 or 20. So these are the contributions of Hem Singh Pruthi. And in the year 1936, so Imperial Agriculture Research Institute, which was built at Pusa, that was shifted to New Delhi. So earlier I showed you the building at Pusa in Bihar, it was damaged due to earthquake. So since it was damaged due to earthquake in Bihar, the same was shifted to Delhi, New Delhi in 1936. So today also there are faunistic surveys led to the establishment of National Pusa collections at Entomology Division in IRI. So today, if you go to Entomology Division, you have collections called as National Pusa collections. So these are one of the largest collections of insects in the world. So at IRI in Entomology Division, we have this Pusa collections, that is National Pusa collections. So in these collections, we have many of insects. That is, more than 500,000 specimens are present in these collections. So out of this 500,000 specimens, 0.1 million are identified. 0.1 million are identified, and this 0.1 million identified insects consists of 20,000 species. So here, in the year 1937, this entomology division was started at IRI, New Delhi. So you can see the batch of postgraduate students who are studying at that institutes. Maybe if you people complete your BSc Agri, so you can try to get your MSc or PhD seat in this IRI, so that you'll be studying in one of the great institute in India. And in the year 1937, so studies on storage space was initiated at Hapur in Uttar Pradesh. So studies on storage pest, they were initiated during 1937 in Uttar Pradesh in a place called Hapur. So in 1958, a name in the institute in the name of storage pest was started, called as Grain Storage, Grain Storage Research and Training Center. So this was established in 1958 at Hapur in Uttar Pradesh. So later on, this institute was renamed as Indian Grain Storage Institute. Indian Grain Storage Institute, and it had two field stations at Ludhiana and Bapatla. So Bapatla is in Andhra Pradesh. Later on, it was shifted to Hyderabad. And this had the funding of UNDP. This had the funding of UNDP, United Nations Development Program, in 1968. So earlier there were two stations. Now three more stations are added, which are located at Jabalpur, Jorhat, and Udaipur. So recently in 1996, this IGSI was renamed as Indian Grain Storage Management and Research Institute. So earlier in 1958, it started as GSRTC. Later on in 1968, renamed as IGSI, and in 1996, it was renamed as Indian Grain Storage Management and Research Institute. And in the year 1939, so Locust Warning Organization was established at Jodhpur. So in 1939, they established one organization called Locust Warning Organization. So locusts are nothing but they are the short-horned grasshoppers which increase in their population. So this organization was established with head office at Jodhpur. So later on in 1946, so this was merged with the Directorate of Plant Protection, Quarantine and Storage, which is located at Faridabad in Haryana. So the mandates of this organization was to monitor, forewarn and control desert locusts. For example, there were locust outbreaks or locust plagues in 1926 to 1932. So later on in 1939, All India Beekeepers Association was formed at Pune, and it started publishing Indian Bee Journal. And in 1940, T.V. Ramakrishna Iyer, he published a book called Handbook of Economic Entomology for South India, and the second edition was published in 1963. So if you this book we have in our library, you can whenever you're free, you can have a look at this book. And in 1941, CFC Beeson, so he published the ecology and control of forest insects of India and neighboring countries. So TVR Iyer, he published a handbook of economic entomology for South India. Later on, Beeson, he published ecology and control of forest insects of India and neighboring countries. And in the year 1944, the first batch of MSc Agriculture Entomology started, and they passed out in 1946 from IRI. So remember, the first batch of MSc Agri passed out were in year 1946. So I think it is time to stop. So we will stop here and we will continue with this history in tomorrow's class. So till now we have come to 1944. So 1944 onwards till today we will continue in the next class. So thank you all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'll close. We'll continue for tomorrow.
Ready? Close it, no? In the highest